Good afternoon. Happy Independence. I did one video earlier last week that talked about my entry into spirituality. That's the focus of the podcast: spirituality and growth, um, knowledge and understanding of the real world. And today I want to talk about a message that I got related to that. The first podcast was based on remote viewing and understanding the first things I did of spiritual growth last year. And I'm going to do some other videos. So this might get reorganized and reshuffled, but I got a strong vision and a strong message today for Independence Day, July 4th, 2020. And I wanted to put it out there to make sure it goes out there. So I might reorganize it later under a different title, but that's the gist of this message that I got. So kind of what's going on in the world as of right now, July 4th is we still dealing with coronavirus, and we're still dealing with Black Lives Matter protests and monuments being taken down, that kind of thing. A lot of civil unrest, you might say, in the United States of America. I'm not too familiar with some of the things going on in other parts of the world, although yesterday I did hear that Africa, a lot of people there are very upset with vaccine trials that are being forced on people in low-income people in African countries. So that's kind of the state of the world as of this inspiring message that I got. And I get messages different ways, but sometimes I like to, in the morning times, just meditate, and the words just kind of flow through me. So they help me. They've been very helpful for me in predicting a lot of the things that have come, and there's things I've written down in the past that we'll put out there. But for today, I felt it was just felt a calling to get this out there because it is current information. So I'm going to read the messages and then maybe stop when I come back to them to go over it a little bit. But this is what I got. Talking about me specifically, you are opening your heart to receive this great message of love and redemption. Good. Now it is the turn for many others to do so as well. Focus your attention and your message toward this growing cadre of individuals who are ready to receive and achieve new heights on your planet. They will be the next wave of candle holders of consciousness on your planet. As you perceive your reality to be something that is frightening to you, it need not be the case. Your perception continuously alters your reality. Do not feel that anything you have thus achieved has been in vain. Rather, you have learned numerous elements and achieved many milestones on your planet. Your growth, however, will now become exponential in nature. Many can achieve this rapid transitional success on your planet. Open up your heart to receive them, and they will in turn open up their heart to receive others. This growing tree of consciousness can thus transform many corners of the world much more quickly than at any previous time in your planet's existence. And then I got this. Work hard, love harder. Feel the love cultivated in your heart. Discern and find truth through intuition. Make up ground that is yours to rightly claim. You have earned it. And the last one, feel the vision of what you want as though you already possess it. And the caveat is it must be altruistic, and then it will be yours. So that's what I first got this morning, talking about that, opening your heart up. Yeah, the heart is a message I constantly get of loving and the power of that and growth and consciousness before we can really hope to solve the problems that we're dealing with the world. Sometimes it feels like the world's burning, and Albert Einstein said it's insanity to try to solve the problems with the same level of awareness that created them. We have to grow our consciousness. So I think that love and opening your heart, you don't hear that message from the media, certainly not. The more of us that can share that, the better. So focus your attention on that growing cadre of individuals who are ready to receive and achieve new heights on your planet. They will be the next wave of candle holders of consciousness. You know, and I had this conversation with people where we try to convince people that we love or friends that just don't seem to get it, to understand the way the world works, and we're just butting our heads up against the wall. And that's not what this says. This says you need to help those people who are ready to receive. They're the only ones that can learn. So if they're not ready to receive, then they're not ready to grow in consciousness, and it just is what it is. So that can help people to focus a little bit in their actions. We only have 24 hours in a day. And then what was powerful to me, it says, as you perceive your reality to be something that is frightening to you, again, it's talking specifically to me, your perception continuously, as you perceive your reality to be something that is frightening to you, it need not be the case. Your perception continuously alters your reality. So it's saying that, because there's this idea that, okay, we can overcome this hurdle with coronavirus, but maybe there's something else in the future, or, maybe something else is going to happen in the future that's just we can't plan for. And even though I'm growing in consciousness and I'm spiritually alive and aware, maybe we still won't be able to put food on the table 6 months from now, whatever. And this is saying that as you perceive your reality to be something frightening to you, it need not be the case. Your perception continuously alters your reality. Now, so we need to be prepared, but we don't need to be frightened. And our consciousness, our living, breathing, in this moment consciousness can project what we want in the future. And that in turn, we are powerful spiritual creator beings. And so we can actually create that reality into existence. So I thought that was very powerful. Also, the growing tree of consciousness, that as we hold a strong candle flame that others have helped us light. For me, Laura Eisenhower, many other people have helped me light my flame of consciousness. Now others can come and hold their candle up to my flame, and you can have multiple, if you can imagine a tree of growing lights of consciousness, and it is a tree of consciousness in this planet. And as we grow in that conscious awareness, it is also saying that we can transform this planet much more rapidly than at any point in the past, which I fully believe. So work hard, love harder, feel the love, cultivate it in your heart. So both of those relating to love and cultivation of the love. Discernment is key right now. Find your truth through intuition. The intellect is over. The power of the intellect is over on this planet. It is now the power of the intuition. Make up ground that is yours to rightly claim. We've been behind, but we can catch up, and we can catch up quickly using our consciousness, which is much more elevated than at any point in previous history. And I'll explain that a little bit later. But here's the key. If you've watched The Secret, 2006 documentary, very good show. But the first half of that movie is about accomplishing something for yourself, service to self. I'll manifest a car. I'll manifest a person in my life. I'll manifest a dream boat, a vacation home, whatever. Then now we're at the point where we really need to be thinking altruistically on this planet, service to others. And so we can use that same skill, the law of attraction, to manifest what we want in our life, but let's do it altruistically in service to others, in community based. And in that way, the growth happens much, much more rapidly. Then I got another message. This was related to the old power structures of the past on this planet. The discovery of what's going on with the old power structures is this. They are phasing out they are parsing out their resources at great detriment to their organization. They cannot continue to do so without sputtering, which they've already started to do. That is extremely dangerous because it leaves them exposed and vulnerable to attack by the people. It is increasingly difficult for the government officials who are owned by them throughout the world, as well as worldwide corporate media, to continue covering for them. The discernment period is very intense currently. Those who do not discern will likely remain slaves, while those that do discern will see the shackles and be able to take measures to remove them, and thus usher in new waves of creation and consciousness, free from oppression. And that was very powerful. So it's saying that they've made all kinds of mistakes. The old power structures that are clinging on to their power, this planet, they've made a lot of mistakes. They've got government, it's saying they've got government and media that are attempting to cover for them, but it's increasingly more difficult, easier for the people to poke holes in the logic of all these old structures of intellect, back to intellect that had dominated, a scientific report. The people really don't care that much that a scientific report came out with something that level of information anymore. And discernment for us as the people is very important because we will be slaves if we do not have that discernment. But if we do, we can take measures to remove our shackles and usher in new waves of creation and consciousness free from oppression. And that's very exciting. The vision that comes through with powerful, positive emotions about our future, thinking and seeing and visualizing a powerful, healthy, happy, vibrant future for our kids and our grandkids and our neighbors and the planet, Mother Earth, a healthy planet. So carrying that enthusiasm is very important to making it reality and seeing it. Anytime you can, see that. And a lot of my dreams I've had doing community projects in my dreams have been about teaching me to work with others, and we'll be doing community projects in my dreams. I swear, it's crazy how many dreams I've had over the past 2-3 months that have seemingly been there to teach me how to work with other people. And we're doing, like putting up framing on the house, building a community garden, whatever, but we're doing it collectively, as I think that's our future, is as a collective people. And then I asked about the next steps, and this is what I got on the next steps. This is very important. You will discover the potential to see and circumvent all negative aspects that appear to you. You do not need to fear. You do need to discern. You need to be fully conscious. You need to be fully loving. Yes, there are controlled systems which can wreak havoc on your planet, but no, you do not need to fear them. The media is attempting to control your consciousness and that of your neighbor and countrymen. Do not give them that power. They do not have any power otherwise. Simply do not submit to the spider web that they are spinning to try to catch you in. Discernment is the key. Be here now, in the moment. Disconnect from the confusion that only serves to sink your consciousness further down, like an anchor tied to your ankle while you're underwater. So this took some time to kind of digest, but I will go through it a little bit. You'll discover the potential to see and circumvent all negative aspects that appear to you. You do not need to fear. So powerful. to think that this world is just hoisted on us. Well, what if this happens? What if there's a second wave? Oh boy, we're done. We're over. What if there's an alien attack? What if they burn down my city or whatever? What if the price of gas is through the roof? What if the currency is not valuable anymore? Listen to this, guys. You will discover the potential to see and circumvent all negative aspects that appear to you. You do not need to fear. I don't know if I know we have spiritual assistance here. I know that angels, I've had angels guide in my dreams. A lot of people talk about benevolent extraterrestrials that will be here in the future to help us in this ascension process and window. But I don't know exactly what it is, but I do believe if we can see, if that's discernment is the key, because we can't discern, then we're screwed. We're completely screwed. And honestly, maybe we need to be screwed because it's part of our spiritual growth that we must continue to suffer. I've gotten messages like that. But really, it's saying that if we can see, if we can discern, we will have the potential, discover the potential to see, that's discernment, and circumvent all negative aspects that appear to you. You do not have to fear. So we will always have a back door to escape any problem or issue that we're dealing with on this planet, no matter how bad it gets. We will always have an option. That is what they are saying, crystal clear clarity, that we have that ability. We do not need to fear. Okay, if you're fearing for any reason, you're violating your first energy center, and I'm going to do a video on my relationship with energy centers, but you're violating your first energy center in your body that says, do not fear, have faith. And then that moves the energy up through your body to where you can have spiritual energy. But if you're stuck in that, well, what does the media do? It's always got us in fear. It's crazy. It's insane to live like that. That's, not the way, that's anti-body. That's anti-human body, no matter what race or gender you are or age you are against your body. No matter if you've committed crimes in the past, if you're guilty for any kind of ism, if you are in fear. And number two is, second energy center is guilt. If you're in fear and guilt, you're blocking the first two energy pathways that your body has to get you the vital, spiritual, life force energy. You do not need to fear, period, ever. You do need to discern. You need to be fully conscious. You need to be fully loving. Yes, there are controlled systems which can wreak havoc on your planet, but no, you do not need to fear them. The media is attempting to control your consciousness and that of your neighbor and countrymen. Do not give them that power. That is their only power. Without our consciousness channeling, going down this direction of, we're going to follow this mentality, there is no power. We are autonomous beings, spiritual, loving beings. Simply do not submit to the spider web they are spinning to catch you in. Discernment is the key. Be here now in the moment. Disconnect from the confusion that only serves to sink your consciousness further down. So, that is the message for today. I want to end with, there was a pastor. I'll get you the name and put it in the text here to this video, but it was in Kentucky, and I can't remember the name. It was very recent. And so what happened, he's kind of a dreams guy. I've gotten all these dreams, and I'm going to do videos on these dreams, so I've written them down. Very powerful. So in his dream, this was back in December of 2019, he had a dream of the calendar of the first part of 2020. And the calendar in the dream marked out the month of March and the month of June. Well, he also saw visions of people in mass and protests and taking down monuments and looting. Exactly what he's seen, and this is what he had just told local people. He didn't do a video back in the first part of the year, but he did a video now because in the last week he had another dream, and this dream was about the second half of the year. What happened was it went to September, and it pointed out September, and then when it went to November, it was like the whole calendar exploded. And yeah, you can check it out on it's on Facebook. I try to see if it's on YouTube. The point was what was came out in November, he said, was armed protesters, DC burning Russian and Chinese troops in the streets of Washington, herding people up, checking off quadrants of the city, bank runs, shady politicians doing bank deals, churches and homes being burned, no U.S. currency or devalued U.S. currency. People, like we said, rounded up, and blue UN helmets of troops in the streets. And last but not least, these at first he had seen vultures flying around the city with the dead bodies, but now those had turned to gargoyles, and they were flying 10 to 15 feet above the street, and they were tearing people up. It was a very terrible, terrible sight. And so his recommendation to the people was get food stores, get some alternative currency, gold or silver, guns and ammunition, and communicate with different families on your plans. Something we should all have anyway, and have had that since the 1800s, called, common sense, because people historically had always had that common sense, but also, resources to protect themselves. Does this, the squirrel always collects plenty of acorns for the wintertime and digs them in big holes, so they're always protecting themselves. Very, squirrels got common sense, so we should too. But especially now, when you get signals in dream states such as this, you might want to listen. Lastly, guys, I want to follow up with a dream that I had. Oh gosh, the pastor had his first dream in December. I had a dream, it was probably November of 2019. This was very interesting because what I saw, I didn't see any reason. I didn't know what it was. Was it an alien invasion? Was it a Chinese invasion, or what it was? And I didn't think anything. I thought at the time, how could this happen? But now it's starting to make sense. So we were I saw a Sonic or some kind of drive-in, like a Sonic drive-in, A&W, something like that, and it was chock full of cars. The whole thing was stocked with cars. Every car had about 4 or 5 people in them, and all of the people had loaded guns. They all had rifles at the ready, and shotguns. And I saw kids as young as 4 or 5 or 6 holding these guns. And what I saw was the children and the parents, they were not afraid, but they were very aware. They were discerning. They were looking off in the distance to see something coming over that hill. And I remember thinking, gosh, this, if it's going to come down to that, wow, why would I have a dream like that, otherwise? But when I heard the pastor's message this morning, wow, that made me think of that dream that I had, and how powerful that was. Yeah, like if some Chinese Chinese troops showed up for some reason, and they were trying to round us up, it would be a lot harder to do that if you had a Sonic drive-in, or as an example, packed chock full of people that all had loaded weapons, and were ready for you. Good luck. Yeah. So anyway, that was my message today, and I hope it's helpful. Happy Independence Day. This is always the land of the free and the home of the brave. So let your and I understand that America's not perfect. There has been a lot of suffering over the last millennia. But there are also a lot of countries, population that have moved here over the years that love America because their own countries have been unable to provide them freedom and protection and liberties that we have. So yes, we're far, far from perfect, but we are a lot better. And even the founding fathers, the George Washington, and people like that did have a dream and a vision of ending slavery, even if they weren't able to do it in their own lifetime. Maybe we shouldn't fault them terribly for that, because they did create a great thing. I wonder if we had stayed a colony of Britain, if we would have had half of the freedoms that we have today, probably none of the freedoms that we have today. So very thankful that we became a country. We rebelled, and I think there's something to be said for that. Also, they used the phrase "we the people." They didn't use the phrase "we the corporation." It was not about a corporation; it was about the people. And I think that is something that we've lost in this country. That with people with Ike and JFK, that they wanted to keep it, but it went away, and we need to get that back. We need to be of, by, and for the people, and only the people. The corporations do not serve us. The intellect does not serve us. We, the people, serve us. We have our own media. We will have our own populist candidates for elections, and we have our power. We have tremendous power because we, the people, we are the conscious ones. We reject the intellect, and we are for the fruition of intuition. That is our goal on this planet, and I want to work with people like that. I would love to continue sharing my message, and I love YouTube for that reason. And I thank you so much, guys. I'm just going to end it there. Bye bye.